Well, Celtic, of course, are champions. We know that. Let's see a performance against Hearts tonight here at Celtic Park. Let's join David Provenance first, as usual. Ian Crocker.
Thank you, Jim. They're having another party in the East End of Glasgow, and we are all invited to the home of the champions. Job done by Celtic, but Hearts still have some unfinished business. Martin O'Neill makes 3 changes from the side that booked a place in the Scottish Cup final last week. In come Tommy Johnson, Colin Healy and Jackie McNamara. Chris Sutton has a slight knock. Lubo Moravcik drops to the bench, and Neil Lennon misses out because of a family bereavement, and our sympathies to him. Hearts are without suspended Slovakian Robert Tomaszek. Robbie Nilsson also drops out, with Scott Severin and Gary Wales coming in. Wales making his first start of the season after recovering from a broken leg. Former Rangers striker Gordon Jury makes the bench, as does 18-year-old defender Andy Webster, a recent signing from Arbroath.
Yeah, I have to say I'm delighted to see Gary Wales back in the Hearts side. He has been out for a long time, of course, and I think he will largely play up front on his own tonight. I think Boyack, though, will get himself forward from the midfield area on that side, and likewise Andy Kirk on the left, which will mean that Mjällby and Valharan might have to play a bit wider, and Celtic essentially will just go man for man with that 3. As they did at Aberdeen, when Aberdeen played with 2 wide, 1 through the middle. A lot of managers are happier with a spare defender in there for a bit of security, but I think Martin O'Neill has enough faith in that 3 to allow them to go man for man. Midfield is going to be pretty crowded tonight. They're going to match up. It's going to be 5 across for either side. And I think if you look at the players in there, of the 10 players, Agat, McNamara, Thompson, Stephen Boyack, Colin Cameron, Andy Kirk, all happier on the front foot. Although it's going to be a busy area, I think it's fair to say that both sides have players in there to trouble the opposition. Further forward for Celtic, a different striking partner tonight for Henrik Larsson, but one that is no less willing than Chris Sutton. Tommy Johnson, I think at times doesn't get a fair crack of the whip, but he puts in a tremendous shift and makes all the runs. Very mobile, and I know that Henrik Larsson appreciates him in beside him at times. And a big night for this young man, who I doubt very much will have played against anyone with the pace of Didier Agat.
Well, these two teams have got to know each other rather well this season, having collided in both cup competitions. It's the 6th meeting between them. Celtic won the previous 5, and they dished out a thrashing or 2 in the process. The Scottish Premier League trophy will be presented after the game, but before Celtic can get to grips with that, they must get to grips with Hearts. Alan Stubbs with his family, and how wonderful it is to see he and Morten Weghorst back in good health after their battles against very serious illnesses this season. Celtic have won 28 of their 33 league games. A remarkable achievement, really. Just 1 defeat, that 5-1 thrashing at Rangers in November. And we wondered how they would respond to that, and this is how they responded. They're unbeaten in 23 games since, Davey, and they've won 20 of those 23. Not bad, eh?
That's a remarkable form they've had, Ian, and you know, they've lost just 24 goals in 33 games, and that for me has been the difference. When Martin O'Neill arrived at the club, he started building for the back. That has been the foundation of the success. I know that Henrik Larsson and the forwards and the offensive midfield players have done a terrific job, but at the back they have been superb.
No visiting team has won at Celtic Park in the Scottish Premier League this season. Only Hibs have managed to take away a point. So can Hearts succeed where others have failed and beat the champions of Scotland on their own patch? And some patch it is too. Well, Antti Niemi probably has nightmares about facing Celtic in his only Old Firm game for Rangers. They put 5 past him, and they banged in 19 in 5 games against Hearts this season. And Henrik Larsson is closing in on another record. He's now 2 short of Brian McClare's Premier League tally of 35 in a season, and he's 1 short of 50 goals overall. Mike McCurry was in Germany midweek as 4th official to Hugh Dallas at the Kaiserslautern Alavés UEFA Cup semi. I have to say, when these scarves are raised and this song is sung, it is one of the most stirring sights and sounds in football. It's the first round of Scottish Premier League matches since the death of Rangers and Scotland legend Jim Baxter. So before kick-off, there will be a minute's silence to remember one of the game's greats. Well, how refreshing to see the old firm united in tribute and in respect for a legend. Tells you quite a bit about the man, Jim Baxter. Celtic can't wait to get their hands on the Scottish Premier League trophy, but they've a bit of business to take care of first, and I'm sure Martin O'Neill will have been as infectious as ever in getting his players up for this game, David.
I'm sure he'll have tried, Dean, but whether or not he succeeds remains to be seen. I think when players get over the finishing line, they tend to mentally switch down a gear or two, and Hearts may feel they've come here at the right time. They've made a great late run in the title race. They're within touching distance of Kilmarnock now, so a huge incentive here for Craig Levein side.
Yes, they're jostling with Kilmarnock for 4th place, which now carries a UEFA Cup spot. After Celtic and Hibs reached the Scottish Cup final, they of course already heading for Europe via other routes. So Hibs have effectively done Hearts a favour, but I don't think there'll be too many thanks for it. Hearts certainly have a score to settle, or a few scores to settle. They were beaten 6-1 here earlier in the season, 4-2 and 3-0 defeats at Tynecastle, and of course Celtic knocked them out of both cups.
He's changed his midfield tonight, Martin O'Neill. Didi Agat's going to play wide left, and it's from right to left. It's going to be Jackie McNamara on the right, then Colin Healy, Paul Lambert. Alan Thompson moving one in, where I think he's a more productive player, playing one in from the touchline with Agat wide left.
Martin O'Neill will definitely want a victory on the day that he and his players are able to finally get the Scottish Premier League trophy in their palms. Talk about doing it in style now, and he'll want to go through the whole season with just that one defeat, I'm sure, at Rangers, although the men of Ibrox themselves might have something to say about that next weekend. This is Makel, now Stephen Pressley, who had a slight knock in the build-up to this game, but was never really going to sit it out. In fact, it's Presley's 87th successive start in the league. Cameron. Andy Kirk, the Northern Ireland international. He was looking to return it to Cameron, but the supply line was blocked by Paul Lambert. And now here's Alan Thompson. So Didier Agat on the left. Lambert. Thompson, who a year ago today scored for Aston Villa in a 2-2 draw with Leicester. Neil Lennon was also on the score sheet that day. And if those two players are both thinking what a difference a year makes, they won't be alone, because also a year ago today Celtic drew 1-1 with Hibs here, a result which handed Rangers the title. McNamara. Here's Valharan. What an outstanding signing he has proved to be for Martin O'Neill, who will have some more important signings to make in the summer. Poor touch from Henrik Larsson there, never thought he was up to much, David. It's a pretty low-key start, which is only to be expected, and Hearts will certainly fancy their chances of getting something here. Craig Levine's men have been playing well, especially since the turn of the year. McNamara was nutmegged, seemingly. Kirk trying to turn away from Johan Mjällby, but that's easier said than done. The giant Swede has played a prominent part in Celtic's success this season, even though he wasn't really a major part of Martin O'Neill's plans when the season began. I have to say his attitude, despite that, was excellent. Here he is, trying to find his fellow countryman Larsson. Thompson. Didier Agat, formerly of Hibs, now up against their Edinburgh rivals, and Agat going for goal! Fine try off the bar. Didier Agat, well, you could see it coming.
Well, it's a terrific early ball, first of all, by Alan Thompson, but the benefit here of a right-sided player playing on the left, coming onto his strongest side. And Antti Niemi didn't know much about that. Smashing effort there from Agat. And it all came from a good early ball from Alan Thompson, and I think if Celtic can get Agat on the ball early, Hearts could have problems down that side.
Antti Niemi relieved to see that one bounce off the bar. The Finnish international making his 50th league appearance for Hearts today. Makel was caught by Healy, but will be mopped up by McKenna. Craig Levine has brought in one or two new faces. Presley's firm header. Kirk, and now Cameron takes over. Kirk again. Lee Makel. Here's the Austrian international, Thomas Flugel. And Hearts spraying a few passes around. Flugel giving Stephen Boyer something to latch onto.
You see how tight though Valharan was on him, and Valharan will go all the way right out onto the touchline if he has to. Likewise, Johan Mjällby on the other side.
It was nicked away by Valharan, in fact. Presley. McCann. Kirk. Jackie McNamara dispossesses McCann, but then completely wastes it.
I think he was trying to play Johnson in with the long diagonal there. Austin McCann caught in possession. Celtic in a good position to break there.
Hearts fifth in the table. They could join Kilmarnock on 50 points. And they go to Rugby Park next Friday live on Sky Sports, and they have a better goal difference as well than Kilmarnock in the hunt for that last UEFA Cup spot. Healy's clearance. Here is Valharen. It's just going to drift away from Agat.
Surfaces is playing quick tonight. We've had a lot of rain, the ball coming off the surface very quickly. Well, you say the players will probably prefer that. Allow them to get it down and get it past.
It's been a very wet day in Glasgow, and it's still tumbling down. Just for a change. Here's Mialbi. Lambert. Healy, the impressive young Irishman. I knew if I said that he'd lose out there. McCann. Handball against Colin Cameron, top scorer this season with 15, including a couple of penalties against Celtic in the League Cup, and he also scored here earlier in the season, although it didn't count for much at the end of the day because Celtic ran out 6-1 winners. Away by McKenna, the Canadian international. It's picked up though by Jackie McNamara, and Thompson's header is a little wayward.
Yeah, it's a decent ball in by Jackie McNamara. Chris Sutton might have made a bit more of this. Alan Thompson in unfamiliar territory really here. Didn't really get anything at all on the header, but good ball in there from Jackie McNamara. And I do think Alan Thompson will enjoy himself tonight in playing in the more central role where he might get a few more shots on target. There you see it, Hearts having more than their share of the ball here, and I think Craig Levein will be pretty happy with the way his side have knocked it about so far.
And Thompson took a whack on the back of the neck, but he's up now, and Didier Agat's on his way again. He'll settle for the throw. Agat, an early season sensation at Hibs, and he was only on a short-term contract there, so Celtic moved in and paid just about 50,000 for him, bargain buy. Away by McKenna, but only to McNamara, who looks for Henrik Larsson. Colin Healy's in the box as well. Lambert. Valharen leaves it for Thompson. Mialbi. McKenna read that. But he then gave it straight to Thompson. And guess who he's going to give it to? Didier Agat, who goes past Flugel with ease. Thompson's waiting nearby if he needs him. He gets some sort of cross in. Alan Thompson. Ooh, for a moment it looked like Henrik Larsson might get to that, but the flag was up anyway for offside.
Well, Hearts had lost Henrik Larsson here, Ian, because as the ball comes in here, Larsson's between McKenna and McCann, certainly offside, but he found a nice little bit of room in there.
Henrik Larsson has scored 7 goals in 4 games against Hearts this season, including a stunning hat-trick at Tynecastle on a snowy night, if I remember correctly. Ramon Vega. It's very quiet here at the moment. I'm sure these Celtic fans are saving their voices for later. They might have to use their voices now, though, as Thompson looks to put a gat in, and Presley's clearance comes back off the Frenchman.
Yeah, well read, Stephen Presley, because Thomas Flugel's caught here with the ball in behind him. Good delivery by Alan Thompson, could have done with a bit more weight behind it perhaps, but Presley read it well and got it across quickly.
A milestone for Stephen Presley today. It's his 100th league appearance for Hearts. It's come off Jackie McNamara, so it'll be a throw in to the men from Edinburgh, who are only 4 places below Celtic, but 41 points below them. Valharen. Lambert, a little casual, but it didn't really happen for Hearts, and Lambert will be rather relieved. Henrik Larsson on 49 goals. He finally got to beat Charlie Nicholas's Celtic record, 48 in the season, post-war record. Now he's after Brian McClare's Premier League record, 35 goals. He's too short of that. He doesn't only bring you goals as well, of course, a lot more besides. Kirk trying to make progress. McNamara held him up. Lambert as composed as ever. Colin Healy losing out to McCann. McKenna's clearance comes to Lambert, who's enjoying himself today. McNamara stepping away from all comers, including Cameron. And now Healy, he was at full stretch. Flogel just got in front of Larsson. Boyack, once of Rangers. The Gaps, though, finds his route blocked by Lee Makel, who can check up on a few old mates today. He played with Alan Thompson at Newcastle, and he played with Chris Sutton at Blackburn. Sutton missing out this evening. He took a slight knock, which Celtic are being a little bit cagey about, in fact. Foul by McKenna, the Canadian international, on Tommy Johnson. Paul Lambert in charge. Johnson. It was a long way out for Tommy Johnson.
Yeah, he did well here to spin McCann in the first place, and with this kind of surface here, it's well worth it. If you have that kind of opportunity, even from that range, to have a go. The ball is coming off the grass so quickly.
Well, it's a milestone for him today as well. His 50th game for Celtic, which is not many when you consider that he's been here 4 years. A lot of injury problems, of course. Decent goal return, though, 25. Decent goal return, too, for Henrik Larsson, who's in a menacing mood here. And Larsson has done well. Did he run it over the line? He did. It's a goal kick.
It all came from terrific upper body strength here from Henrik Larsson. He managed to screen the ball and spin then from McKenna on his way to the byline. Thought he would run out of room here, and it appeared that eventually he did, but good example there of the strength of Larsson. Not much of him, but he can give and take.
Amazing when you think he cost £650,000 from Feyenoord. Feyenoord, you were done. Here's Cameron. And Gary Wales waiting to receive. And Severin on the scene as well, or Boyack on the scene, and it's blocked by Valharan for a corner.
That's a terrific block at full stretch by Valharan. I think it's Paul Lambert who eventually plays Boyack on. Just here as this pass is played, Paul Lambert's caught in deep. Valharan though managed to get across, did well. But a good break by Hearts, who are moving the ball around pretty freely at the moment, and the manager will be reasonably pleased with what he's watching.
Lee Makel's corner. Ramon Vega made sure he was going to win it. And a chance for Celtic to break away. McNamara electing to go to the right to Henrik Larsson. Tommy Johnson wants it, but McNamara has made a run for a return, and it does slither through to Antti Niemi. Matthew McNamara has got rather used to coming off the bench lately, but given a start today. Severin. And a foul given on Ramon Vega. Larsson and Johnson wait to receive. Ramon Vega yet to be on the losing side in 20 games for Celtic. Larsson's flick on, with McKenna breathing down the back of his shirt and catching him a little bit as well. It wouldn't have hurt so much if he still had the dreadlocks, you know.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. Just caught in the back of the head there by McKenna, who's trying to get as tight as possible. Understandably so. You really can't afford to give this man half a yard these days. I think he's saying he's okay, telling Brian Scott he doesn't require any treatment. But he does get up well.
Celtic will set a Premier League points record if they win today. They'd move on to 91, beating the previous best of 90 set by Rangers last season. Lambert sorting things out for Celtic. How many times have we said that? Didier Agat. Larsson making moves to his left. Agat taking another route though, which again involves Lambert. Johnson. Agat. Larsson still waiting over there. Larsson the provider, but it drifted away from its intended targets, Healy and Johnson. Larsson's 33 league goals have come in 33 league games rather neatly. Here's Thomas Flugel. Ramon Vega, who still has to sort out his future. Since Vega arrived, Celtic have only conceded 3 goals in the 13 league games that he's played. Stephen Pressley has a problem. He seemed to fall awkwardly then.
Yeah, he went up with Henrik Larsson as the long ball was played forward here, but again, I think he's going to be okay.
McNamara. Mialbi underneath that. Sent into the stand by Colin Cameron. Craig Levein, hoping that his side can have a crack at the UEFA Cup next season. And he is starting to stamp his mark on the club after the excellent work done by Jim Jeffries and Billy Brown. Now, of course, at Bradford. On a bit of a run themselves at the moment, although probably a bit too late. Alan Thompson. McNamara at full stretch. Mialbi finds his fellow countryman Larsson, and the offside flag goes up against Tommy Johnson.
Yeah, it's a good angled run by Tommy Johnson. Just needed a fraction earlier here from Henrik Larsson. Well, as it's played, very, very tight. But he'll make those runs all night. Not a great favourite here, you would have to say, but a very, very willing partner for Henrik Larsson.
And he did, of course, score the worst ever title clinching goal in history against St Mirren here at the 17th touch. Here's Henrik Larsson. That's skidded away from McNamara. Well, there's more Scottish football for you tomorrow night from 7:30, and it really is a crunch game between the bottom two. St Mirren against Dundee United will be at Love Street Monday, 7:30 on Sky Sports 1. We make almost a large chunk of the season through injury. McNamara, Johnson's flick, blocked by McCann. Kevin McKenna made sure he was going to win that. McKenna on loan for the rest of the season from the German club Energie Cottbus. Took a knock in the face then, McKenna, in fact. A nasty one.
Once again, it's very, very tight here. McKenna, Jackie McNamara has just dunked at him with the back of his head here. Tommy Johnson, in fact, I don't think Tommy Johnson knew he was there, but there'll be no consolation to him.
He was actually linked with Celtic earlier in the season, Kevin McKenna. And I think I'm right in saying he had a trial at West Ham last year. He's off getting a bit of treatment, so Hearts temporarily a man down. Celtic trying to exploit that with Henrik Larsson. McKenna's been allowed back on. Agat's cross, he's not quite made it into the box yet, mind you. Away by Severin.
Starting to get backed up a bit now, Hartseen. Earlier on, Stephen Presley had him up round about the halfway line, but Celtic starting to get more and more of the ball and really just sort of bullying them onto the back foot. And he's really got to hound them up towards the halfway line so they can get some support up to Andy Kirk and Gary Wales.
Kirk has kept it in, but Mjällby won't allow him to pass. And the free kick is now given in favour of the big Swede.
He doesn't lose too many of them, does he? Tremendous physical presence. Got a better temperament now as well. When he arrived here at first, he was getting far too many yellow cards, but he sorted that out as well.
Johnson, and he's put Henrik Larsson in. And Anthony Emi stuck a leg out. Didier Agatho is on the scene, and that one's just looped over, but it's going to be a corner.
That's a terrific reverse ball in the first place by Tommy Johnson to play Larsson, and didn't have to take the touch, decided he would, and that's a very good save by Niemi. Could have pulled the trigger earlier. Henrik Larsson decided to take the touch. Angle was starting to close up for him, and Niemi did well.
Larsson always leaps well when it comes to corners. McNamara sends it in, and it was Tommy Johnson who actually got on the end of it. That did well to do so.
I think he climbed above Henrik Larsson to get here. Good ball in, and he's up above his own player there. And he's well up there, Tommy Johnson. Just couldn't get it down the way. Celtic well in control in terms of attempts at goal, and I'd imagine having the lion's share of possession as well now.
Hearts have been pretty good defensively lately. 4 clean sheets in their last 6 games. Mind you, with Craig Levein in charge, I suppose they should be pretty good when it comes to defending. He was pretty useful at it himself. Mind you, I don't think he would have been too impressed with that back pass to Niemi, which has given Celtic hope here. Thompson found it out, and Lee Makel sends it up to Gary Wales. Boyak's lob. Mjällby finding Lambert. And it's returned. McNamara hugging the touchline. Thompson. McNamara for Tommy Johnson. Larsson is there. It comes through to Didier Agat. Celtic are closing in. Agat beaten away by Niemi, but they're getting closer. Hang on though, could be a break on for Hearts. Andy Kirk has to hold it up. Flugel. And Colin Cameron. Robert Douglas came out and Cameron with a glimpse of goal. Paul Lambert. Nicely away to Valharen, who won the Dutch Cup with Roda last season. He quite like to follow it up with the Scottish Cup. Ramon Vega. McNamara. Johnson. Away by Makel. Here's Alan Thompson. And that bounced off Gary Wells. Didier Gant was quickly in though. Mind you, he usually is quickly in. Lambert finding Tommy Johnson. Celtic patiently plugging away. Valharen having a little burst now. Healy. Thompson. McNamara. Thompson looking for Agat and finding him perfectly. Agat is on the prowl again, but it's smothered by Niemi.
Yeah, he's checking back onto his right side every time, Ian. It's an awkward one, but no real trouble for Niemi.
Hearts really struggling to make an impression now. Celtic, though, have only conceded 9 league goals at home all season. Thompson. And Valharen. Agat. Thomas Flogel definitely caught him then. It'll be a free kick.
You could hear that one from up here, Ian. Microphone, as you can see there, picked it up. Must have clattered his shin guard there.
Larsson has returned it to Agat. He's in once more. And Hearts did very well to block that behind Stephen Presley.
Presley did well. He's caught here with the ball inside him. Agat, of course, one of the quickest in the business. And Presley manages to match him.
Half an hour played. Celtic dominating the proceedings now. McNamara's corner. Can they get a goal to show for their efforts? Mjällby's header and Henrik Larsson swung and booted it, but the two Swedes couldn't quite combine.
Oh, it's a free header. Stephen Presley not happy here with Austin McCann, because Mjällby was allowed to come and attack it unchallenged there.
Ramon Vega making great strides here, unchallenged as well. Thompson. He has Tommy Johnson with him. And Niemi will pluck that one out of the air. You wouldn't really want to be playing up front on your own for Hearts today. Gary Wells has that job, and predictably perhaps not seeing much of the ball. Lambert presents it to Alan Thompson. Here's Agat. He wastes no time, and Jackie McNamara comes in. Oh, and Thompson at the second attempt, and still he can't get it in, Alan Thompson.
Oh, unbelievable. I think first of all Jackie McNamara doesn't realise that Austin McCann's going to miss this. I think it takes him by surprise. What a great chance. Once again Niemi in the right place, but Celtic should have been ahead without a doubt. Jackie McNamara not picked up there.
Well, Anthony Niemi has been in fantastic form this season, as Charlie was saying earlier. Probably the best keeper in Scotland. And I know a lot of Rangers fans, in fact, were a little sorry to see him leave Ibrox. Hearts fans weren't, though. Henrik Larsson. And Tommy Johnson waiting for the cross, but McKenna cut it out. Larsson could try again, though, and you can be sure that he will. And Johnson's header this time loops over.
Yeah, he does well to get on the end of it here, Tommy Johnson, but he's actually on the back foot. He's having to go back the way to get on the ball. And he ends up, what, 12 yards out. It's going to take something pretty special to beat Niemi with a header from there.
Valhaeren miscued that one, but then he hasn't done much wrong this season. He chose Belgium's game against Scotland to have one of his poorer games of the campaign. Boyack battling away, but still not much joy for Hearts. Cameron slipped. Agat. Thompson. Didier Agat is over there and wanting the ball, but Thomas Flugel saw it coming. Boyack. Gary Wales. Cameron, little nick to Andy Kirk, and he might just get it back here, but credit to Ramon Vega who came across, although Kirk now has support from McCann. Makel. Healy snapping away at Lee Makel, forcing him into that sort of pass, really. Didier Agat didn't want to let it go for a throw. Presley's header has inadvertently set up Tommy Johnson, but he couldn't quite shake off McKenna. Didn't control it particularly well, I don't think.
Yeah, first misjudgment of the game from Stephen Presley here. Ends up underneath that. Tommy Johnson on his way. McKenna did well to get across.
Andy Kirk. And he's going to get that back from Cameron. But Johan Mialbi is winning that particular duel at the moment comfortably. 10 minutes of the first half to go. No goals at Celtic Park, the Scottish Premier League trophy to be presented after the game. Celtic have generally been in control, but nothing to show for it so far. Maybe that'll change now. McNamara for Healy, blocked by McKenna. McNamara, who scored Celtic's third against Dundee United in the Scottish Cup semi last week. His delivery goes towards Agat, and it'll be scooped up now by Tommy Johnson. Lambert. Ramon Vega. It's come off Gary Wales, former Hamilton Accies striker, who broke his leg towards the end of last season. One of the game's young talents. His first start of the season. McNamara's throw, and Makel just did enough, despite the presence of Colin Healy. Comes off Colin Cameron's knee and goes out of touch. Celtic fans would quite like to see a goal, but a handball against Jackie McNamara means that there won't be one coming just yet.
There's a good knockdown here from Larsson, well anticipated by Jackie McNamara. I think it hits his face, I don't think it hits his hand.
Martin O'Neill I was going to say he can relax now, but I don't think he ever does, to be honest. I think after the Old Firm game next week, hang on a moment, Gary Wales could be in here. He is, but he's lifted it over.
Celtic caught for the first time in the match with the ball in behind here, and Wales was quick enough almost to take advantage of it. And Vega and Valhanen weren't making up the ground. First real chance of the match for Hearts.
Tommy Johnson. Oh dear for Hearts. He's put Didier Gat away. Larson, Healy, Johnson and McNamara and Thompson all waiting in the box. McNamara's header. Hearts deal with it though. Here's Boyack. Up to Wales. Boyack could get it back and does. Mialby's header, but Cameron knew what he was up to. Here's Kirk. McCann going on the overlap. Makel. Cameron showed too much of that to McNamara, but Hearts still have it. Austin McCann hassled by Mialby, and Paul Lambert can bring it away. Lambert surviving the close attention of Cameron, Makel and Severin. Referee waving play on as McNamara is floored. I was going to say after the Old Firm game next week, Celtic may throw a few kids in for their last few league games. Martin O'Neill can afford to do that with the Scottish Cup final looming at the end of May. And a long season, remember, started at the end of July. Started on a sunny Sunday in Dundee as far as Celtic's Scottish Premier League ambitions are concerned, and their ambitions were realised. And they won the title with over a month to spare. They didn't hang around. The earliest the title had been won for over a quarter of a century, in fact, since Rangers celebrated in the month of March 1975. Just over 5 minutes of the first half remaining, and it's probably been the sort of match that we thought it might be so far.
I think Hearts have looked pretty solid, Ian, pretty compact. I think midway through the first half they started defending a bit too deeply, but Stephen Presley's managed to get them pushed up a bit, and that's allowing their midfield to go and support Gary Wales, who's playing up front on his own.
Cameron now. Ooh, thought for a moment it might go through to Kirk, but Ilham Mialby thought otherwise. Lovely turn from Lambert, and a lovely pass to Didier Gat. He wanted to go the other way. McNamara. Henrik Larsson, and McNamara had burst into the box. Stephen Presley will be assisted by his central defensive partner Kevin McKenna, but Hearts still feeling the heat. Although they've kept Celtic at bay so far. Mialby's cross, and Thompson coming in. It's a corner, in fact. It must have come off Severin.
That's good defending. I think it's Stephen Boyack who gets back here, who tracks him all the way back there.
The big boys are up from the back as Alan Thompson delivers, and Presley won it, but it's going to come to a Gat on the volley. Well, Lee Makel was standing on the post, and a great view of it. He watched it go wide.
Yeah, I think Niemi knew the minute Gat hit it, it was finishing wide here, Ian. Didn't want to get any power on, had to take it early, the ball was being pressed. But I'm surprised they haven't try to get to a Gant on the ball a bit more often. I mean, he showed early on when he cut inside that and hit the crossbar that he was in the mood.
Valharan hit it straight at Severin. Here's Flugel. Boyack. Decent delivery that. It bounced off Johan Mjällby. Paul Lambert earning applause from the Celtic faithful, and no wonder. There's a calming influence around Celtic Park when he's on the ball. Healy caught out, but Mjällby blocked Kirk, who then miscued it slightly. And Lambert is there once again, running the show.
You see the Celtic having the better of the action areas, and they really have taken control of the ball. But the Hearts still looking pretty solid.
Here's Colin Cameron. Andy Kirk. Can Hearts snatch the lead before half-time? Johan Mjällby doesn't think much of that idea. Larsson leaving it for Tommy Johnson. Alan Thompson making a run, but Presley with a vital challenge. Oh, Severin went in high on Didier Gant, but the referee has waved the advantage. Didn't come too much of an advantage for Celtic, as it turned out, and now Gary Wells chasing it, but it does carry through to Robert Douglas, and there'll be just 1 minute of added on time to go with the 1 and a bit minutes of normal time that are left in this first half. Cameron. Here's Wales. Boyack. Thomas Flugel arriving on the scene. But Jos Valharan deals with it admirably, and Celtic are going to break away. Although not particularly quickly this time, and Hearts did have a few bodies back, a good few bodies. Although Celtic have had a lot of the plays, Hearts will be very content with the fact that they are still very much in this contest, with half-time fast approaching. Mjällby. Celtic, remember, due to collect the Scottish Premier League trophy at the end of this game. Seconds remaining in the first half. Thompson sending it in the direction of a Gant, but nothing doing that time. There might not be any time left for Hearts to go anywhere here. I suspect the whistle will go, and there it does. No goals in the first half at Celtic Park. Didier Gant came the closest, though. He hit the bar. That one got the better of Antti Niemi, but not much else has. At the break, at the home of the champions, it's Celtic 0, Hearts 0.